Hey guys, so today I'm going to go over some of the possible running mate choices that President Donald Trump has for his 2024 presidential campaign. I'm going to give you my opinions on them, if they would be good choices, how effective they would be, how helpful they would be during the election, and also how likely they will be. Let's get into it. So coming in at number 10, I have Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, the only reason he's this low on the list is because I don't think he is a likely choice for the vice presidential position. I think he'll more likely be placed into a cabinet position or a transition team position. I think he will have a place in the administration one way or another. I just don't think it's likely that President Trump will pick Vivek, considering the fact that your vice president can't outshine you, he can't be louder than you, he can't get you into a little bit of trouble. So I think Trump is going to go with a more mellow, a little more calm of a person, where Vivek is very similar to Trump in the aspect of he says what's on his mind, he says whatever he wants to, and that could get President Trump into a little bit of trouble. And I think personally Vivek would be better as RNC chair. He would help us out a lot with fundraising and making sure we have good America First populist candidates in every race. Coming in at number 9, I have Tucker Carlson. Another reason, very similar to Vivek, he is so low on the list considering the fact I just don't think that this is a likely choice. I think Tucker is honestly too good to be vice president. The vice president is more of a ceremonial position, and it really is just, you preside over the Senate every once in a while and you cast a tie-breaking vote. Likely in 2025, when Trump takes over, the Republicans will have a majority in the Senate, and there won't be even a necessity to cast tie-breaking votes unless you have one or two rhinos flipping and voting with the Democrats frequently. But Tucker, just same thing. You cannot have a vice president that outshines you. The top of the ticket has to be the boss, and Tucker is just such a powerful and outspoken person that he could outshine the president. Coming in at number 8, we have Governor Ron DeSantis. Now, he did just drop out of the race. He is this low strictly because there's no possible way that Donald Trump picks him to be his running mate after it was a pretty nasty primary and lots of attacks thrown every which way. But the DeSantis people are praying that they can get this VP nominee just so they stay relevant. A lot of nasty people on Twitter like Bill Mitchell have been running around saying that they will do anything in their power to ensure that the president does not win, not re-election, but elected again. And it's not going to help Ron DeSantis' case if all of his loudest, most followed supporters on X are running around saying that they do not want President Trump to ever be in the White House again. Coming in at number 7, we have the freshman senator from Ohio, J.D. Vance. Now, J.D. is a strong populist. He's a very good senator. I just don't think it is very likely that the president will choose him. I think he would be a fantastic vice president. He has the experience in the Senate to be able to perform the actions as presiding officer. But like I said, he's newer, not likely to be chosen. Ohio's not necessarily a state that Trump needs help to carry anymore. Trump, thankfully to Donald Trump, Ohio has become a fairly solid Republican state. So I hope that J.D. Vance is going to be working very hard to get Bernie Moreno elected to the Senate in Ohio and flip that Senate seat so we can have the majority again. But it is not likely that President Trump will choose J.D. Vance as his vice president. Coming in at number 6, we have Senator Tim Scott. Now, Tim Scott just endorsed President Trump at a rally in New Hampshire alongside Elise Stefanik and Lee Zeldin, which will be mentioned later on in this list. But, I don't think President Trump is going to pick Tim Scott. I think his messaging is kind of the Republican Party of the past, which has a unfortunately has a record of losing, and it's just not the campaign style we need. But Tim Scott is a good senator. He's a good guy. I look forward to him helping President Trump win South Carolina in the primary coming up in, I believe, February. But it's not likely President Trump will pick him. And now we are going to get into the top 5, which I believe are likely choices that could happen. Now, number 5, we have Governor of South Dakota, Kristi Noem. She is likely choice. Now, she has had some scandal of mentions of an affair with a member of the Trump administration and the Trump team, so I believe that could hurt her chances. It might be a scandal that Trump does not want to associate himself with. I don't believe I've ever seen him mention it. I know Kristi and Corey, the other guy involved in the situation, have both denied the accusations, but I think it could be something that might hurt the president. But besides that, I believe Kristi Noem could help with the suburban vote, and she has a very solid conservative record as governor. She's very populist ideology, which I really appreciate, and I believe she would make a fantastic vice president. Coming in at number 4, we have Representative Byron Donalds from Florida. Now, for President Trump to choose Byron, he would have to change his residency from Mar-a-Lago in Florida to a residency in another state, more than likely Trump Tower in New York City. Now, Byron Donalds has a little bit of controversy surrounding him and the Freedom Caucus members who did not want Speaker McCarthy to become Speaker McCarthy, and I appreciate that he stood up to the establishment. I appreciate that he put his name in the hat and could have possibly became the first African-American Speaker of the House. I think that would have been a fantastic achievement for the Republican Party to have, especially considering we are called racist at every corner for no other reason than we disagree with the Democratic Party. But Byron would be a fantastic vice president, possibly president in the future. I would love to see him run for governor of Florida coming up here. Matt Gaetz would also be another fantastic candidate for that race. But he is likely to help with the urban vote and would definitely be a fantastic running mate. Now we are getting into the top 3. These are the 3 most likely, in my opinion, choices for President Trump to make. Now, number 3, we have Congresswoman from New York, Elise Stefanik. She is the chairwoman of the NRCC, so the National Republican Congressional Committee. She has the experience, the legislative experience, and has a very loyal record to President Trump. She's a little more on the moderate side. If you look on the Turning Point Action scorecard, she has about an 81%, which is not great, but it's also not terrible. She would be a great vice president. She meets all the requirements for the president. You know, she's loyal, she's conservative, she is not afraid to speak her mind, but she also does not outshine President Trump in any way. She would be a good number 2. Coming in at number 2, we have the former congressman that represented the Long Island area and former candidate for governor in New York, Lee Zeldin. Now, Lee is a strong populist fighter. He just went out and rallied at the same rally that I mentioned earlier with Tim Scott and Elise Stefanik in New Hampshire to help President Trump defeat Nikki Haley in New Hampshire. That's the only state that anybody's necessarily somewhat worried about. We're not really worried, but she could pick up a couple of delegates there based on polling. But Lee Zeldin almost flipped the New York governorship. I feel like that is an amazing accomplishment, especially from somebody who is not a moderate Republican or a rhino. He is a strong, populist, MAGA, America First Republican, and he doesn't outshine the president. But if Lee Zeldin is put on the board, New York could be flipped, which would be an astonishing accomplishment from President Trump. Now, my number one choice, somebody that I think would be the best choice for President Trump and also the most likely choice for President Trump, is Dr. Ben Carson. Now, Dr. Ben Carson is from the state of Michigan, which will be in the top swing states. It's a state that we have to win if we want to win big, and I think Ben being from there will definitely help the president in flipping the state. From the last election, Trump won it back in 2016. He lost it back in 2020, but I think Ben Carson will definitely be able to help Trump edge out Biden for the victory. Now, he also is a very mellow guy. He will not outshine the president in any way, but he will also stand up for what he believes in, and he will defend the president whenever he has to. He also has experience in the executive branch when he served under the Trump administration in the cabinet, and he also has a very good campaign experience, considering the fact that he once was the front runner in the 2016 Republican primaries against President Trump. Now, he dropped out and endorsed President Trump back in 2016. He was one of the very first people to endorse President Trump this time around. He makes phone calls in Iowa. He rallies in New Hampshire. He's doing whatever he can to help President Trump win, and that is somebody that I want as our vice president, who is going to do the work to ensure that the president will win. So those are my top 10 choices for who Trump should choose as his vice president. I know a lot of people love Vivek and Tucker, and I know a lot of people really love Carson and Zeldin, so let me know in the comments who your choices are. If you agree with my list, if there's anybody I forgot to put on, please let me know. But thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to talking to you guys in the next video.